live. What's going on, everyone? Thank you all so much for tuning in at this time. Everybody that's here, I greatly appreciate it. Anybody watching on the replay, thank you so much. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel. I can't close games. What do you say? I mean, this team just keeps finding new ways to lose over and over and over again. Just terrible execution down the stretch, terrible decision making. This team just constantly is just beating themselves. You know, like it's at this point, that's just all it is. They keep beating themselves, right? You had this game in the bag and you blow it. You did it in the Magic game, had the game in the bag and you blow it. Poor execution down the stretch, careless turnovers. You even got bailed out several times, right? You leave Trey wide open, literally wide open. And what does he do? He buries it. Like, it's ridiculous at this point. Like, this team just doesn't have it. These guys we're too one-dimensional with guys. We don't have the balance. We don't have guys we can count on a nightly basis. We don't have guys that we can count on night in and night out. You know, we don't have the pieces necessary. I understand we're missing guys, you know, Austin Reeves, maybe this game is different with him, or, you know, Jared Vanderbilt, and, you know, you name it. But at the end of the day, we're in these games, right? We haven't been in the games lately, but this game, the Orlando game, we've had several games where we can't seem to close teams out. We can't. I mean, even the games that we've won against the bad teams are literally right there. Like, we're not pulling away. We're not closing guys out. We go up 11 and then immediately give it right back, right? And then you're at the point where it's like, okay, starting to get into like, okay, like Lakers might actually win this. You start feeling good, start feeling confident, and then all of a sudden it's just like garbage. Again, it's just over and over and over again. They just find new ways over and over and over again to just keep beating themselves. Literally, it's like, okay, well, how can we lose this game today? Right? Let's leave Trae Young wide open. Let's leave, Anthony Davis has the clear tip. You don't have to tap it out of bounds, right? Like, you just tip it. Let it be a 50-50 ball. Let it LeBron James go up and get it. Right? You have the ball, you're in it. It's just over and over and over again. This team just constantly just makes mental mistakes, mental errors. They don't close games. They don't do the things that we need them to do on a nightly basis. You know, and it's just like this team just isn't good enough. You know, that we don't have the players that we can rely on night in and night out. Right? We don't have those guys that, okay, like, these are your clear-cut 5-6 guys, right? They're all one-dimensional. You got, like, defensive pieces, right? It's so frustrating that this team just regularly just finds ways to beat themselves. You know, and it sucks because you had some nice games, right? Like, you had Rui. Rui had a really solid game. Not like great or ridiculous, but he was good and solid, right? Gabe Vincent, right, had a decent game. He was impacting the game on several ways, and then he just has the blunders when it matters most. Max Christie had a very good game, in my opinion. He unfortunately ended up fouling out, but he was like doing everything, saved us at the end with the block shot, right? But again, it's like Gabe Vincent you can't count on regularly and offensively, right? Defensively, you're making collapse. It's just you don't have anyone you can count on a regular basis besides LeBron James and Anthony Davis. LeBron James and Anthony Davis combined for almost 80 points. And you still lost the game. It's crazy. Absolutely crazy. Dalton Connect finally starts getting some offense going. You know, 3-point shot still not quite there, but he was impacting the game in several ways, right? Rebounding the basketball, making some plays. You know, he ended up having 14 points, being great, moving without the basketball. He was doing the things that you wanted to see from him, ended up being 6 of 11, right? Which shows that he's more than just like a 3-point shooter, right? But again, it's just like you can't count on guys. D'Lo, right? 3 of 9, 8 points, 3 assists. It's just like, can't count on these guys. And it's so frustrating, right? Like, I love what Max Christie brought this game. I like how Max Christie's been playing, period. Right? Like, he's been really solid and on the things that just don't show up in the box scores, right? Like, he had a good box score line. If you just like look at the box score, he had a good box score line, but he had his hand all over this game. Gabe Vincent finally has a solid game and then leaves Trey wide open. You know what they're trying to do. You know that Clint Capella ain't shooting that. Why are you losing track of Trae Young? Why? Why are you losing track of Trey? There is no reason he should have had a wide open look. Literally, it wasn't just wide open. He had time to get the ball and adjust and square up his shoulders to take that shot. It's inexcusable. Inexcusable. It's ridiculous. These guys just are awful. And it's just like every game, it's like, okay, how are we going to lose today? How are we going to beat ourselves today? It is, it's frustrating. But anyway, I'm done ranting. Let's get into all of the super chats, regular chat, all that stuff. I see I got some super chats, some regular chats. Real quick, take a quick second, hit that like button for me, hit that subscribe button for me, and let's get into. Sorry, I know my voice is all groggy. I don't know. I woke up today and I've been all messed up, so trying to get through it. But anyway, let's get into it. So Andrew, LaVine, 32 points, 5 and 9 from 3. Can't win without him. Yeah, look, I've said go get Zach LaVine. We need him. I mean, you need somebody that you can count on a nightly basis. You need somebody that can close down the stretch, that can hit big shots. Right? Like, it's frustrating. Like, this team needs help. And you need that ceiling raiser, in my opinion. Or you got to get a huge haul. Right? You got to get 4 or 5 guys. Whatever it takes, you got to figure it out. Seriously, it is so incredibly frustrating. But watch it coming out the final super chat. Thank you so much. Is it just me, or is their defense and clutch much worse this year? Well, I mean, you also don't have like certain match. Like yes and no. Lakers had that problem last year. Remember, they couldn't win tight games last year. They kept losing them. Right? It was the games that they'd like separate. So no, like it's been basically the same. LeBron's just been a little better closing games this season than he was last season, but we had our struggles last year too, where we especially early, like this time last season, we could not close games. Remember, it was like first halves, then second halves, and then it like switched to second halves, and we were bad first halves, but we just kept having these tight games. It was a lot of similarities from last season. It's just been the way that we've been losing this year, right? Like. Last year, they were close games, and we ended up just fumbling it. We've had multiple games where the other team, where we're fumbling it, but the other team is hitting big shots, right? Like we remember, Franz hitting a game winner. We remember Trey hitting a game. You literally have 2 game winners in like a 5-game span or whatever, or 7-game span, whatever it is. That's why it feels that way. But we had the same problems last year. Closing games, we were not good closing games. We were not good finishing games down the stretch. I mean, you even saw it in the Denver series, right? Like we were winning every one of those games we couldn't close out. We're not a 48-minute team. Like again, even this game, we had stretches where we looked great. We had stretches where we looked like a real basketball team. And then you go on that stretch where you no longer look that way. It's so frustrating. Incredibly frustrating. But watch, I appreciate you. 7 Day Sports coming out the $5 super chat. Thank you so much. Lakers must make 2 trades, period. Just like Jason Tim, Pelinka doesn't make a trade. He should be fired. It's time to get Zach and Vu. Yeah, look, I agree. You got to get a trade sooner rather than later. There was a report that came out that said, and I made a video already about it. It's going to post it probably tomorrow. That the Lakers are aware. I think it was Mark Stein might have been the one that said it. That basically the Lakers are aware that they need to make multiple trades. That they know that it's not just like Valanciunas isn't going to solve the questions. That they want to address the guard position. They know that they need to address the wing position and they need to address the backup center position. But they do. You got to get multiple trades. I think Zach LaVine, I think, is a must at this point. You need that guy that you can count on. Look, I've said this before. Right? Imagine Zach LaVine in the Austin Reeves role. That by itself would make us light years better. Zach LaVine with the ball in his hands, being able to be aggressive, being able to score the basketball, being able to move without the basketball, being able to spot up, knock down the open 3. He's just a better shooter, better scorer, more athletic. more versatile. You can put him in better actions and better sets that you just can't do with Austin Reeves, right? Like you got to get him. I like Vu, and I made a couple videos. I even made a video of like, does Zach and Vu? Do you just kind of lean that way and just go all in? Because you can get Zach and Vu and still fill out a roster and do all that stuff. My only problem is that like I really worry about the defense. Now you could argue you just be so good offensively that who cares, right? Like you look at like Denver, right? When Denver won the championship, right? Denver was the second worst defense in all of the playoffs, and they were 15th in total defense during the season. It was like the first time a defense outside of like the top 10 or top 11 had won a championship in like 30 years, 40 years, whatever it was. So there is that argument there. I think you need to at least get Zach LaVine. Bare minimum, I think you got to get Zach LaVine. Crippy Lawn Stockings coming out $10 from chat. Thank you so much. Seriously, I appreciate that. We let the Hawks bench put up damn near 40, yes, or 70. Yeah. Rob should be forced to do a press conference to answer for this. This is annoying. Look, I talked about so I would love if like GMs and organizations like at least clued us in, right? Like, like the problem is it would have to be like unanimous amongst the league, right? Because if Rob comes up and just does a press conference, then now you have organizations complaining and no one wants to do business, right? Like it could set a bad precedent. I wish we did. I wish like an organization like the Lakers could just be like, hey, like right now we're targeting, we're having conversations with these three teams, and unfortunately, it just doesn't work that way. One, teams don't want to know what the deal is. Teams don't want things out there. That's why you get the reports, right? Like that's you get the reports where it's like Rob Pelinka has been working hard to go get this guy or that guy or this guy or keeping tabs on this guy, right? Like it's kind of what the reports are rather than like a press conference, because then you have the hey, like I didn't say anything, it wasn't on me type thing. But problem is even if Rob Pelinka was able to do a press conference, like he wouldn't, like what can he say, right? He can't be like, oh yeah, so we're like right in the middle of working on this trade for this guy, because if that falls through or if that team gets upset and is like, you just basically spilled the beans, like okay, or somebody else comes along and is like, wait, time out, Lakers are going to give you this, we'll give you this. And then now everyone's like, Rob, like you lied, right? Like it just, unfortunately, it's you can't, like the press conference, as much as I would like that, I wish we could. Honestly, I wish we got more transparency from organizations, but it could be a disaster, an absolute disaster. And fans, can kind of get extreme with things. But yeah, I mean, they got to do a trade. They have to. They have to get something done. It is incredibly frustrating too. I'm right there with you, Creepy. It's just like, what do you do at this point? Like, it's just until you are able to pull off some moves, which hopefully is after the 15th. The problem is it's probably not going to be on the 15th. It's probably going to be shortly after. You got to at least get the first domino, in my opinion, right? Get that first domino. And I think that opens up so much for the Lakers, right? If they can just get that first, it doesn't even have to be something crazy, right? Like just go get Dorian Finney-Smith, right? Like it's just like, okay, cool. We got a legit 3-and-D wing. Here you go, right? If you can just get that first domino to fall, it would, us fans would be excited. It kind of adds some breath of fresh air. They're not dealing with what's going on in the locker room and all the chaos and all the like it just changes the complexion of things. But I'm with you. I appreciate you, Crippy. Ever since Rui entered the starting lineup, shaking my head. Well, I mean, he was in the starting lineup last season. The problem is he's out of position. And this is what I've talked about. Even last year I talked about this, right? The problem is you have Rui who's playing a very important role. Like the 3 spot is a very important spot. Why? Because they're responsible for so much. They're responsible for, defending out on the perimeter, chasing down those loose balls, right? Like there's so much that they have to account for, and we just don't have the pieces to do that. You don't have the athleticism, right? Like how many threes did this team take? All right, like the problem is teams just jack threes up on us, and we don't have the foot speed to track it down. So what was the stats for? So offensive rebounds, we gave up 11 offensive rebounds, and they took how many threes? They took 40 threes. Teams are averaging, I think it's 38 and a half threes off the top of my head. I might be wrong on that. But it's somewhere in that, like literally 30, 38 to almost 40 threes a game on us. It's more than like any other team in the league because teams are just jacking up shots because they know we're going to win all the 50-50 balls. I just have to outpace D'Angelo Russell, Rui Hachimura, and Austin Reeves, right? We need, like, ideally you have like a Jared Vanderbilt in that spot. Yes, he doesn't give you the offense, but he gives you that balance. He can be a slasher, right? You could put him in different actions to where he can kind of benefit on the offensive side. It's frustrating. You have Rui, who's a 4, slotted in as a 3, but the problem is we don't have very many options. Like it's not like we have all of these different variables. It's frustrating. It's frustrating. Andrew, coming out with another $2 super chat. Thank you so much. A LaVine trade is necessary with Io and Dorian Finney-Smith. Big, yeah. Look, I would love it if Lakers could get LaVine, Io, Dorian Finney-Smith, and then like a Day'Ron Sharpe, like do a Chicago trade, get LaVine, Io. I don't care what you have to give it, as long as you're not trading LeBron James, Anthony Davis, and Dalton Connect. I don't care. Trade everybody. Get rid of everybody. Go get that point of attack guard, which you'd get in Io, that 3, that main scoring option in Zach LaVine, and then you got a 3-and-D wing in Dorian Finney-Smith, and then a big. I mean, you literally could start Io, LaVine, Dorian Finney-Smith, LeBron James, and Anthony Davis. You solve all your athleticism. I'm with you. I think that would be chef kiss. Watch it. Coming out the $5 super chat. Thank you so much. Don't be surprised if Rob is about to make a super trade for LaVine, Vooch, Io. That gets vetoed by Chad. Would it be shot? Dude, Genie has vetoed so many. Like, I've said this before. How many times do you hear of a GM vetoing, or not a GM, an owner vetoing a trade? We've had Genie do it like 3 times in the last, however many years. Like, it's crazy at this point, right? Like, and I like nothing surprises me. If I'm being honest, I don't think a trade happens until after December 15th because like 87% of the league becomes available. Also, some of the guys that the Lakers want to trade, right? They will be able to trade, like Max becomes available. Jared Vanderbilt, I believe, becomes available then, right? Like you get several guys that even on our end. So we'll see. But you know what's sad is you're not wrong. Like I wouldn't be shocked if we hear news that like, LaVine, like Lakers trade for LaVine and Vooch for whatever, 2 seconds, and then all of a sudden you hear Jeannie has vetoed that trade because she wants to see what this team looks like. It's just come on, it's so frustrating. So I'm right there with you, Washington. Zion Green coming out the $5 super chat. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. Okay. Hey, Tyler, big fan. Thank you. Seriously, I appreciate that. Thank you so much. Do you think the Lakers can convince Caruso to come back next season? He will be a free agent. I don't think it's impossible. I think it just depends on a few things. Like one, it depends on like how OKC does, right? Like if OKC like wins the championship, then probably not, right? Like, because why wouldn't he run it back? If they're like a second round exit, something like that. I also think money talks, right? If Lakers are close, right? Like let's say Lakers go to the conference finals and they lose, right? But like they're close. It's like, man, if we could just get like a Caruso and something else, and LeBron could take a discount and change some stuff, then yeah, I could maybe see that happening. I'd be curious to see if the other thing you have to keep in mind too that didn't exist before is now the new CBA. You can negotiate and work out deals before they hit free agency. So like a lot of players, like it's like, how come this guy doesn't have an extension? How come this guy doesn't have an extension? Like, why doesn't this guy get a new contract? Because you don't have to worry about it like you used to. You can get through the season and then you get like a whatever it is, like a 2-week period or whatever, where you can negotiate with your free agents before they hit free agency. Kind of gives teams a head start. Never say never. Like I wouldn't be shocked at all. I think a couple things. One, opportunity. Two, what does our roster look like? 3, money, right? Do we even have money to give him, right? You know, like maybe LeBron would take a discount in order to make that work, but you never know. There's a couple factors that go into it, but I do. Like, Caruso never wanted to leave the Lakers. He wanted to stay with the Lakers. Just Genie was cheap and didn't want to pay him, you know, whatever it was, 10 million or whatever. And now he's a guy. We've been looking for a guy like him since he left. It's crazy. So I would love it if the Lakers can pull that off. I would love it, Zion. But I appreciate you. Thank you so much. Stakes, doubling Hunter for no reason. Stop switching, shaking my. Yes, you knew where the ball was going to. Like, let AD stay there. Stay on Trey. There was no point. And you doubling him, he's got to get the ball out of his hands anyway. So why are you going to let him give it to their best player who's wide open? Wide open. It makes no sense. Especially with as much time as they had. Right? Like, so even, let's say that they collapse and then LeBron comes and helps. They kick it to Trey. Trey doesn't have to beat LeBron off the dribble. He's such a good passer, he can just get it to the open man. AD's already out on the top. Now they're either scrambling or you got a wide open dunk or layup. Like, it's just, you're in a bad spot either way. Stay on your guy. It is so frustrating. I'm right there with you, Stakes. It is infuriating. Brilliant. We were surging, starting Dalton and Cam. Yeah, I think you should probably go back to that, honestly. I think, you know, stick with Reeves, Cam, Dalton, LeBron, and AD. I get like, you want to showcase Rui, and, you know, like, Rui had a good game. He's just, again, he's not what we need at the 3. He's not a 3. You have him playing out of position. It makes no sense. So it's frustrating. But I think that they should get back to that. I think they should go back with the 5 that went on, what was it, like 6-game win streak or whatever it was? Get back to that. I don't know why we went off that. I understand Rui, you don't want him out of the starting lineup, you know, because he was injured. Okay, well, you put him back in the starting lineup, and it hasn't been working. It's just not working, right? Like, going all offense is not working. We're not consistent enough offensively, right? Rui's not consistent enough. Reeves is not consistent enough. Connect, I love Connect, but he needs to be set up, right? He's not a guy you just give the ball to and he can go to work, right? But that's fine. He's a rookie. He's not supposed to be, right? Like, you go down the list, and it's like no one can really properly create for themselves except for LeBron James and Anthony Davis, right? Like, and no one in that starting unit is consistent enough except for LeBron James and Anthony Davis. At least with Reddish, you get that athleticism, get the foot speed, you get the defense. Right? It's just better balance. But I hear you. And then watch it coming out with another $2 super chat. December 15th after finals. Yeah. I hope that so the thing is, like, don't expect it on the 15th. I would love it if as soon as the 15th hits, boom, that's it. Like, we got the trade done. But realistically, it's probably going to be shortly after. Like I said, I want at least the first move. Give me at least the first move. Give me that, like, you know, a couple seasons ago with Rui, right? Where we got the Rui trade, and then we followed that up at the trade deadline with, like, the big swing trades. I want something like that, ideally. That's my ideal scenario. But watch, thank you so much. All right, let's get into the regular chat until the super chats come in. Also, again, real quick, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. I'm right there with you. The pain is frustrating. Who's Tyler going to yell at today? The team as a whole. The team. Luckily, I'm like sick. I'm all like congested and like my throat's gone. So like I unfortunately can't do the usual screaming and ranting, and I still got to make videos, so I got to like try to maintain what little I have. And this isn't from me like screaming at the TV. I wanted to scream at the TV and I couldn't. It was like a lot of just like silent. It's just, yeah, man. I should have had a camera on me. It was crazy, but yeah. No, this is a team. It's poor effort as a team. Team's just not good enough. This just happened in the Orlando game. Mind you, yes, 100%. You have to make a trade tomorrow. I would love a trade tomorrow. Problem is, they're probably not getting a trade done until December 15th. We deserve to lose too many turnovers in the last minute of the game. Yeah, it's just, again, poor execution, not doing what you're supposed to be doing. This team needs to be called the Clown Show because it's unbelievable. This season is over. I'm not watching a single game again this year. Lakers are officially out of the play-in or contention. I mean, look, a lot could change. I know it's frustrating right now. I'm frustrated too, believe me. But a lot could change. You get the right trades, you get the right pieces. Guys, we start getting healthy. Guys start coming back. You start getting better balance. I still think we're one-dimensional, but it's frustrating. You have guys in and out of the lineup. It's rough right now. But that's the problem. We're just not. We can't close. Next game. I don't know the way the Lakers play. We might not have the next game against Portland. This team can't play defense. Don't watch any more games yet. They can't. They can't defend. They're terrible. It is terrible. Thank you for the live. Well, thank you for hanging out on the lives. I really do appreciate it because believe me, I get it. It's frustrating. I get frustrated too, and it's nice to just be able to come and vent with other people as well. I'll be at practice tomorrow. Thank you. What an embarrassing loss, CFX. Lakers obviously lose again. Yeah, unfortunately, shaking my head. Yeah, just can't buy a win. D'Lo and Gabe at the point guard position, great. Everyone not named LeBron James, Anthony Davis, worthless garbage. Go acquire a LaVine, Dorian Finney-Smith. We win this game easily. I am all for it. I would add Connect to Ellis. Connect's good, and he's a position of need. Outside of Connect, LeBron, and AD, I think you could trade everybody. Waja coming out $2 super chat. Thank you so much. Ultra Vez. I don't know what Ultra Vez means. Can you help me out, Waja? Keep an eye on the. I'll keep an eye on the thing. Ultra Vez. Is that like a word? I don't know if it's like a clue. I don't know. Help me out. Oh, means again. Okay, thank you. Yes, again. Again and again and again. It is. Thank you. I appreciate it. It's again in Spanish. Okay. Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay. I didn't know if I get weird comments from people. So, and I think it's one thing and it turns out to be something completely different. Plus, I'm old now. I'm not hip on the internet. There's all kinds of phrases and stuff that people use. And I have no idea what it is. And I'm just all right, sure. But I appreciate you. Yeah, it's the same. What's definition of insanity? Doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result. It literally is the definition of insanity. It is. It's so frustrating. It is incredibly frustrating watching this team. But I appreciate you, Elijah. Seriously, no trades will ever save this team. Dodgers are the main sports team in LA now. Lakers are absolutely irrelevant. It's sad. Or Rob won't make a single trade. I don't want to hear about trades anymore. Don't be surprised. You'd be surprised what a couple trades can do. You get 2, 3, 4 pieces. I understand the frustration. I understand feeling down right now and being pissed off. I am too. But you get 2, 3 guys. You think basketball's 5-on-5, right? So you get two guys in the starting lineup changes a lot. Now you're talking 40% of your lineup, right? A lot can change if you make the right moves. But that's the thing. Can Rob find the right moves? That's the key. Free AD and LeBron. Why logo LeBron shooting? Why LeBron pulling from logo with 2 seconds left? Terrible shot selection. I didn't like that shot either. You still had time to at least get closer, but I think he was just trying to get the game over. I think he was just we blew it. I either hit it and we win or not. Because he had time to put the ball on the deck and get to the hoop or hit a mid range. I don't think he wanted to go to another overtime. I think he was just I'm either gonna hit this or I'm not. Which I don't like, but can't really blame him too much for that. Yeah, left Trey wide open. Yeah, got no closer. Dalton didn't play 1 minute in the fourth quarter OT. Yeah, but I mean, Gabe was good on the defensive side for the most part. I don't mind that. I don't think Dalton Connect. Man, if we had Dalton Connect, maybe that's the difference. I mean, Max Christie was excellent, right? We were in the spot to win. We blew it, right? It wasn't because Connect wasn't in the game. As much as I like Connect, it was poor execution down the stretch, right? Yeah, maybe Connect would have hit a shot that somebody would have missed, but he also might have missed them. That's the problem. Let's see. Zach LaVine trade video coming tomorrow. I just recorded a new one because there's actually news that Lakers are interested in LaVine. But I don't know if it. I don't know. I got a couple like pressy ones, so I don't know if I'm going to post it tomorrow or the next day. But don't worry, Davion, it's coming. I feel it. Get a trade done. The lack of defense also contributes to getting burned. How many times did the Hawks make the same pass? Yeah, and that's the problem. We don't have the athletes. We don't have the personnel. We don't have the guys. Like the type of defense we want to run works when you have long, lengthy athletes, right? We don't have that. But the problem is we only have so many defenses that we can run. We have only so many defensive sets that we can run because we're limited. You don't have the athletes. You don't have the personnel. You don't have the. You can't throw different looks out, right? Like it's not like we can go, okay, well, let's throw this out here. No, let's throw this out, because you don't have the athleticism. You don't have the athletes. You don't have the pieces you need in order to do that. There wasn't a better shot to take, but it's LeBron's fault. Let's see. I don't think it's that they don't use them at all. I just don't think that they use them enough. They need to run some actual sets and play design for him, right? He's just kind of there, and they're just like kicking it out when they remember him. We need to fix the bad habits. Yes, I agree. We need LaVine some defense. I'm upset. Trae Young was looking for that 3 in the 4th and need trades. I need going trades ASAP. We just can't close out games yet. You got to get some stuff done. You really do. Got to get some trades done. Let's see. Trade or no trade, Lakers will always choke in the clutch. I'm sorry, not necessarily. Again, you get a guy like Zach LaVine, win some games. Won't be as many clutch. Andrew coming out $2 to chat. LaVine as LA Lakers closer would annihilate NBA defenses. I mean, it just gives you a natural scorer, a natural design. You can run different actions that you can't run. Like, problem is, like, LeBron, yeah, he was hitting threes, he was hitting a shot, but he's not really that guy. Like, he's not this natural scorer, right? He's very limited on in his offense, right? It's more so just like put his head down, bully to the basket, or, his little turnaround, fade away on the elbow, or it's him like looking down and then shooting a 3, right? Like he's very limited. A guy like a Zach LaVine, you can just do more offensive sets with. You can put him in more actions. He has the athleticism to blow by the defender, to get to the foul line, right? To stop on a dime, rise up, shoot over the top. We don't have anybody on this team that can shoot over the top, right? Anthony Davis can on occasion, right? When he's vibing and he's clicking, and LeBron at times can, but neither are really just that like great over the top shooters, right? They're both kind of in their spots. Anthony Davis is more kind of that like get the ball, free throw line area, and then just like one dribble pull up type, rather than LaVine can get to his spots. He can close out on the defense, close out. He can just shoot, just rise up and knock it down from various places on the floor. We just don't have that with anyone else. So that would be huge. I am right there with you. Ty is so sick and tired of the Lakers that he actually got sick and tired. Yeah, thanks. Dude, I've been sick for like literally like a month. I keep getting sick. Like I was like really sick. I was like bad sick, like real bad sick. Then got better, and then like ended up getting like the stomach bug. I got like a stomach bug, and then I got better, and then like I woke up today and I was just like, oh man, not again. Like I don't know what's going on. This is like the 3rd time in like the last month I've gotten sick. And I haven't gotten sick in like a long time. It's been like a year, like since the last time I got sick. I usually don't get sick like this regularly. Like, I get, everyone gets the little like kind of bug where you're just like, man, I feel weird today type thing. But no, like, man, I just, this month, I just keep like, been bad. It's been rough. Can't catch a break. We finally seen Miami gave him lost. Yeah, you're not wrong. Seriously. Yeah, Max Christie was solid today. He was really good. I really like how he's been playing, right? Like, I know Andrew's not big on Max. Look, I'm not saying Max Christie is untradeable, but I like how he's impacting the game. You need those dirty work guys. You need the guys that can do the dirty work, play the defense, block shots, hustle, chase down loose balls, right? You need those guys. Yeah, it was an absolute shootout. But Lakers aren't good enough to get into shootouts. I'm done. I feel it. What changes has to be made so we don't make this mistake? You need to get, one, better IQ, guys. Two, just you need better balance. You need guys that you just have that are better at the assigned spots, right? Or assigned roles, right? Like Dorian Finney-Smith. He knows his role. He's a veteran in this league. He knows, like Taurean Prince was really good for us last year, but he didn't have the defense. He didn't have the things. Like a guy in like a Dorian Finney-Smith is like what we wanted Taurean Prince to be, right? I know people kind of have a particular way of feeling about Taurean Prince, but a lot of that wasn't Taurean Prince's fault. It was Darvin Ham's fault playing him 40 minutes a game, right? And he just wasn't good defensively, right? But he did a lot of like, he understood things. He made decisions that you're like, oh, that was good, right? Like a great example was like one of the in-season tournament games. Phoenix has the ball, right? The ball is like we get a deflection. Ball is rolling. We have the lead, by the way. Ball is rolling out of bounds. Everyone just stops to watch the ball roll out of bounds. And Taurean Prince goes, no, and chases the ball down, ends up saving it, picks it up, goes the other way, and ends up sealing the game, right? Essentially. We ended up getting a stop on the other end, and then game was over, right? It's those little things, right? It's understanding your role. It's playing and buying into your role, right? Now, if you get a guy like a Dorian Finney-Smith who does the same thing, he's going to make the veteran moves. He's got the IQ. He can hit the open shot, right? But he can also defend. He can defend 1 through 4. He's basically he's what we wanted Taurean Prince to be, but Taurean Prince isn't the defender that Dorian Finney-Smith is. And he's not as good of an athlete as Dorian Finney-Smith is. Dorian Finney-Smith is just a better athlete. So you get guys like that, like a Dorian Finney-Smith, like a Zach LaVine, a Bruce Brown, like guys that understand and know their role and know how to impact the game in multiple ways outside of just scoring the basketball, right? Like that can defend, that can do multiple things. That's the problem. We don't have guys that can do multiple things. If Austin Reeves isn't scoring, what does he give you? Nothing, right? He can't defend. He's not a great playmaker. Like there's, you just go down the list on every guy and ask what is their best attribute and what happens if they can't do that, right? D'Lo, what happens when he's not shooting the lights out, right? What does he provide? Gabe, if he's getting washed on the defensive side, what can he provide, right? You go over the list, down the list. AD and Braun both had a masterclass, but still lost. Need a trade. Wake up, Rob. Yeah, and that's the problem. Right? Like LeBron James and Anthony Davis gave you almost 80 points. Almost 80 points. And you still lost. Literally, they scored more combined than the entire roster. Than the rest of the guys that play. You're not winning very many games that way. Let's see. No way we should have lost this game. It really should have been a blowout. Yeah. Lakers had several opportunities to pull away and just didn't. And that's the problem. They haven't been pulling away. Imagine having 5 players hustling on defense. That'd be amazing. Or at least 2 or 3, right? Like that can impact. Yeah, Body Hunter on the play. Yeah. Gotta move up. Yeah, that one hurt. But I mean, look, it was multiple moves. I mean, that was inexcusable. You shouldn't try to force that pass, especially against Dyson Daniels, right? Like it's like what he does best. Right? It's frustrating. It is. It's the defense, but it's also the offense because you don't have consistent. LeBron, like, see, people have this misconception, and I see the super chat stakes. Give me 1 minute, and I'll get to that. The problem is people are looking at the points that we're putting up and are looking at like we're top 5 in offense and stuff like that. So they think we're this like elite great offense, right? Like, oh, you don't need offense, you need defense. But they're not taking into account that literally LeBron James and Anthony Davis are accounting for all of your points. Like literally like 70% of your points. Like again, this game, for example, LeBron James and Anthony Davis combined for what? 77 points? They literally scored more than the entire rest of the Lakers roster. The entire rest of the Lakers roster. You had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 guys play. 9 guys played this game. And LeBron James and Anthony Davis scored more than the other 7 guys combined. And the problem is that happens regularly on like a nightly basis. If LeBron James and Anthony Davis don't give you 60 a night collectively, you get blown out. We need balance. You need guys that can defend, but also knock down the open shot. You need the balance is the problem. And then Stakes coming out with the $2 super chat. Thank you so much. Excellent point of attack defense by Max. Yeah, Max, I really like how Max is playing. He's doing the dirty work. Again, he's doing the stuff that doesn't show up in the box scores. I love that he rebounds with both hands. He goes to the basket with both hands, right? He's creating contact. He's getting to the rim. He's setting guys up. He's being aggressive on the defensive side. Little too aggressive at times, but I'd rather that. I mean, look at the rest of the team, right? I would rather Max foul out every game because at least he's trying, right? Than all these other bums that are out here just like not even putting an effort on the defensive side. At least Max, you can be like, hey, he only fouled out. That's frustrating. But at least he put in the effort to foul out, right? Like, it's just like, guys, you don't, like, D'Lo, you never have to worry about him fouling out because he's not even defending. Austin Reeves, same thing, right? Like, it's incredibly frustrating. But I really do like how Max Christie has been. He's been a really good dirty work player. And you need that. Again, you need that on a championship team, right? Like, you look at the 2020 team. You know, like, you had Alex Caruso, Avery Bradley. You have these guys that did the dirty work, that were willing to, hey, I don't care if I score 5 points or 0 points or 12 points or whatever. I'll just defend. I'll get after it. I will hustle. I will dive for loose balls. I will defend the rim. And that's what Max is giving you, right? It's not always about scoring, right? You need guys that can do multiple things, and Max has done a really good job. He was struggling very bad early on, but so far he's been very good. I really like what we're seeing from him. Again, I don't think he's untradeable or anything like that, but I do think he's one of those guys that you need. That you look at and you go, man, like, he's a guy that we might want to have stick around a little bit. Imagine playing pickup ball with a guy who plays lazy D. That's demoralizing. Yeah. Let's see. Only if Bronny James. Bronny James is the only one that can save it. It's literally not on Reddit for the people who's blaming JJ. It's on the players. The players like, yeah. Look, I defended Darvin Ham last year, even to my detriment. People were not happy with how regularly I was defending Darvin Ham. It's not that I thought he was a great coach. It's just, again, at what point do you hold the players accountable? Problem is that fans want to blame an individual, right? It's Russell Westbrook. It's D'Angelo Russell. It's Darvin Ham. They want to blame and find that one person that they can point to and go, it's him. And it's usually more than that. Very rarely is it just one person, right? Like, that's the problem. You need multiple. There's multiple reasons why you lose games. So that's the problem. This is the team, the players as a whole. I've said it before. I don't care how good of a coach is. People are like, what happened? I thought JJ was this genius and all that stuff. You have to have the personnel. You could have the best basketball mind ever, but if you don't have the players that can execute it, if you don't have the players that can understand it, like I could be a genius at math, right? And if I draw a math equation and I show it to you and you don't understand it, it doesn't matter how good I am. I can explain it to you. I can break it down for you. I can, walk you through it, but that doesn't mean you actually grasp it and understand it. That doesn't mean you can actually write, okay, well, now you do it. That doesn't mean you can now, if I erase the example, you can mirror it, right? Like, that's the problem. That's the thing that people don't understand, right? Oh, I thought JJ was supposed to be this great coach. He is. But, again, I don't care how good of a coach is. At the end of the day, you need players that can go out and execute. You need players that can go out and play the roles that are needed. Let's see. Honestly, you can't put this game on LeBron and AD. I don't put this. Again, it was a bad execution game. Team is just not very good. Let's see. LaVine would def be our best player, to be honest, even with AD masterclasses. I mean, I don't. Anthony Davis and LeBron James are still pretty great, but LaVine would be on any given night. He could be your best player. On any given night, he could be your second best player. Right, like that goes a long way. What's going on, Steven? Appreciate you being here. Ridiculous. I feel it. Yeah, it's like just a bucket getter. Yes, he'd be our best. Yes. If that's what you meant, then yes. As like just a natural scorer and bucket getter, yes, he'd be our best. Let's see. You cannot get worse than Ham. Yeah, Ham was bad. Like the players were in Ham's defense, the players were bad, but Ham didn't help, right? Like I keep seeing comments from people that are like, oh, like JJ Redick or JJ and Darvin Ham had the same record last year and all this stuff, right? Yeah, but they're not looking at all the variables, right? Darvin Ham didn't. LeBron James was having like an MVP level season at this point. He won the MVP in the in-season tournament. Darvin Ham didn't have 5 games where LeBron James was unplayable in his first 15, right? He didn't have Austin Reeves miss any games. Austin Reeves played all 82 games, right? And as much as I've been critical on Austin Reeves, it's still a player that is valuable, right? He's still a good player, right? D'Angelo Russell, right? He was fine. Jared Vanderbilt they had. Jared Vanderbilt was a big reason why we won the in-season tournament, right? Like you go down the list, there's a lot of variables that people just like leave out, right? Even Christian Wood. They had Christian Wood early on, right? Like there's a lot of things that this team, that people keep leaving out that isn't taken into account on the argument for like, oh, see, JJ's trash too. And it's like, no, it's just, again, like look at the full picture. Atlanta did deserve it. Yeah, they executed. They got the win. They did what they needed to do. Rui, Connect, D'Lo have a combined defensive IQ of 0. You're not wrong, Cal. I can't really get on Connect, though. I mean, he's a rookie. He needs to learn how to position himself, right? Like, that's the thing. Like, it's just, you need it's going to take, like, no one's expecting him to be great every night, all night, at every facet of the game, right? Like, Victor Wembanyama had a historically great season last year as a rookie, and he wasn't great at every facet of the game. There's a lot of things that he did poorly, right? Like no rookie comes in. Even LeBron. LeBron was probably one of the greatest, if not the greatest rookie ever. And there was a lot of things that he did poorly early on, right? Like no one expects, even the greatest rookies have their struggles. I'm not against that, if I'm being honest. But why is he shooting that random long ass three? That was frustrating to me too. As soon as that ball left his hand, I was like, why? But I just think he wanted to get out. I think he just wanted the game to be over. Let's see. Dalton slash the rim too. Because Andrew said Dalton is a rookie who can only shoot threes and has zero talent elsewhere. That's not anywhere close. That's not close to accurate. He's got athleticism. He's actually a very good slasher and reading off ball. He's serviceable. He's not great defensively. He misses assignment. His problem is positioning. He doesn't understand his positioning on the court. And most rookies don't. Even the greatest defensive players ever had their struggles. He does a lot. I can sit here for 20 minutes and explain all the things he's really good at. Who's better, Ingram or LaVine? I mean, that's personal preference. I personally think LaVine is better. I wouldn't hate either. I also think Zach LaVine is just the better natural fit. You could argue Ingram does a little more things just because of his length. Like you can slot him in different places, in different spots, right? Both guys can get you 5 and 5, whatever. Zach LaVine is the better gifted bucket getter. He's also more explosive, more athletic. So I think Zach LaVine would be better, but also just fit-wise, Zach LaVine would be better. Like there's questions about Ingram's fit. Zach LaVine should fit like a glove. Like there should be no problem. Let's see. Crazy how Norman Powell makes about the same amount as D'Lo. Imagine if they had Powell. Yeah, Powell's having a very good season. Yeah, 10-4. Yep. Yep. Get us some help. We need your help. Call Bugs Bunny. Tell Bugs Bunny to talk to Rob. Yeah, it was a rush bad shot. LeBron and AD, for the most part, did what they needed to do. Everyone else made stupid mistakes, and AD and LeBron have to constantly save our behinds instead of going to win you the ball game. Yet. We don't have the personnel. You need LeBron James and Anthony Davis to essentially be great every single night, just for you to have a chance. Not even to necessarily win the game, just to have a chance. Zach and Vu and make the Celtics match. Look, I'm not like completely against it. If you're going to do that, Lakers can do it. Lakers can do it. If I'm not mistaken, Lakers can do it and still keep, because it's 60. It's 64. Like they need to send out essentially like 68 million because you have to fill out a roster. So basically, you're trading almost everybody except for like Christian Wood, Austin Reeves, Dalton Connect, LeBron James, and Anthony Davis. Because then you got to fill out essentially the rest of the roster. Let's see. LeBron and Anthony Davis did everything possible to win this game, and we still lose. Yep. You need guys that contribute. The game is a 5-on-5 game, not a 5-on-2 game. We need a great point guard like Trey. Would LaVine be a better pairing with AR or D'Lo in your opinion? Okay. Here's the thing. Okay, so if D'Lo could get back to being D'Lo last year, then D'Lo, right? I don't know if he's already too far gone, at least with this team. I wouldn't be shocked if D'Lo gets traded and is great wherever he ends up, right? Like they let him play on ball, let him play his role. Because D'Lo is the better shooter. He's the better shooter on volume. They're both defensive rating wise the same. Like literally, D'Lo's actually slightly better the last 2 years. So defensively, they're both the same. So it's okay. What are the pros and cons? D'Lo's game fits so much better alongside Zach LaVine because he's a true playmaker and he's just better off ball as a catch and shoot three guy than Austin Reeves. Like Austin Reeves is a very inconsistent, streaky shooter, right? But Austin Reeves is also, both guys are best with the ball in his hands, but Austin Reeves has not been great off ball to the level of D'Lo. So D'Lo would be the better pairing with Zach LaVine. However, if I'm being honest, I hate the pairing for both, right? I don't like the pairing for either. I would rather go and can you get an IO from Chicago or like a Dennis Schroeder or a Bruce Brown, right? Like you need a point of attack defensive guard alongside Zach LaVine. Between LeBron James, Anthony Davis, and Zach LaVine, you have more than enough scoring. If you really need that shooting, then you can go with Dalton Connect, right? So to me, you got to get a Bruce Brown or get an IO in the Chicago deal or whatever you got to do. You got to get an athletic 3-and-D guard, right? Ideally is what you need alongside them. So if you could go something, like I said, in a perfect world, you could get, LaVine, IO, Dorian Finney-Smith, and then Day'Ron Sharpe. And I think you're one of the best teams in the league. If assuming everything meshes and health and stuff like that, right? Because you need that athleticism and you need that point of attack. Neither guys are athletic, right? And you want the ball in Zach LaVine's hands as opposed to AR and D'Lo. If Pelinka doesn't get the right trade, yeah, that's the thing. If Rob Pelinka gets the right trade, then we'll all be up here. Like that's why, like so many people want me to get on Rob Pelinka already, but I can't yet. I can't judge somebody by what they may or may not do. I don't know. Like if Rob Pelinka does and pulls off a great trade, right? Then I look foolish because I'm like, oh, Rob Pelinka's trash, fire him, do all that stuff. I feel like as a content creator, as somebody that has to come up here and account for what he says and does, I try my best not to act on emotion, right? If he makes the right trade, we'll all be cheering and happy and hollering. Problem is if we wait all this time and he either A, doesn't make a trade, or B, he makes the wrong trades, we're in trouble. That's when, all right, let's get the pitchforks, right? Let's see. It amazes me that the Lakers are the only team that young players never get better. Christie makes some mistakes he made last year. He just isn't an NBA player. You're not taking into account that the Lakers also don't develop guys and they don't give guys runs. Why is Max Christie making the mistakes he made last year? Because he didn't get the opportunity last year, right? He was already supposed to have his figure it out year. And by a figure it out year doesn't mean playing randomly on any given random night for 8 minutes, right? It's about consistency. Night in and night out, you're getting X amount of minutes. You can have a range, but for the most part, right? So many people are like, why did Jay Huff and Scottie Pippen Jr., look at them. Look at how great they would have been on this Lakers team. They never would have been what they are in Memphis on this Lakers team. Never. Why? Because they never would have gotten the opportunity, right? What did Memphis do last year? They tanked. They were in a position. So you know what happened? Scottie Pippen Jr. and Jay Huff got to play 35 plus minutes a game. And there were nights where they were unplayably bad. I mean, unbelievably bad, right? Both guys still have the duds, right? Like Scottie Pippen Jr. had like a triple-double couple nights ago, and then he had I think it was like a 7 turnover, 5-point game, shortly after. I don't know if it was right after or before or whatever, but he still has his good and bad games. He was on the Lakers, he'd be getting torched too, because he wouldn't be getting that opportunity, right? And us as fans, we're not okay with the game to game, right? You have to be great every night, otherwise fans are coming at you, right? And that's the difference. Pippen Jr. never would have gotten the opportunity. Memphis was okay with letting him be bad. So when he had the games where he had more turnovers than points, right? It's fine. It's okay. Hey, we lost the game. Don't worry about it. We wanted to lose the game. Lakers aren't in a position where they're trying to tank. Lakers aren't in a position where they're trying to lose games. That's a big difference, right? So guys are able to develop. Why aren't the same guys doing the same thing? Because we're not, the Lakers aren't in a position to do that. Right, Lakers are trying to win every game. It's Zach, no questioning it, and 3&D. Yes, agreed. I have been screaming for Zach LaVine. Appetizers and sushi coming out the $5 super chat. Thank you so much, buddy. I appreciate it. AD is not a number one option. He punks out when it matters most. We need LaVine and Vucevic because I don't trust AD shooting at the 3-point line. Problem is that if he plays the 4, he's going to take a lot more threes, right? A lot more threes because he's playing the 4 spot. Right now, Vu can stretch the floor and play out, but you're probably looking at double his intake. He's averaging a game and a half or something like that, or not a game and a half, 1.5 attempts, something like that. Here, let's see how much exactly he's making. He was 0-3 this game, but thing is, like I said, if he plays the 4, he's probably going to be taking at least 2 more threes a game. Which I don't know if I want that, but I don't hate the idea of Vu. I've talked about getting both Zach and Vu. You have to trade essentially the entire team, which I'm not, if I'm being honest, I'm not super against. So 3-point attempts, he's averaging 2 attempts this season, right? He averaged in the bubble year, the year that we won, he averaged 3.5, and he played power forward, right? He averaged 3 the following year at the power forward spot. That's my point, right? I just wanted to make sure I wasn't about to say something wrong. If Anthony Davis plays the 4, he's going to take at least 2 more threes a game, if not more. So you're probably looking at him taking anywhere from 3 to 5 threes on a nightly basis. So if you're not happy if you don't trust Anthony Davis shooting threes, right, then you probably don't want him playing the 4 because it's just he's going to have to shoot more threes. Look, if you can get LaVine and Vucevic, you're the best, probably the best offensive team in the league, right? Because, I think you have to. The problem is, so you're looking at let's do this in real time. So you're looking at, I wish I had the video trade up, but I'll just do it off my head. So you look at LaVine. LaVine's making 43 million. Let's call it 44 million because Lakers have to send out more money, and Vu is making 20 million, right? So you're looking at 40, let's call it 45 million just to match salaries, right? Problem is you need to fill out a roster. Or sorry, 65 million. Sorry, 65 million, not 45 million. So you need 65 million just to match salaries. And then you need to be able to fill out a roster. So D'Lo and Rui get you halfway there, right? That's 35 million. Then you need to get another basically 30 million just to match salaries. So Gabe Vincent, D'Angelo Russell, or Gabe Vincent, Jared Vanderbilt, sorry, and like what, Max Christie, essentially gets you to where you need to cover that. And then you'd have to look to, at that point, you'd have to trade Austin Reeves because you need to trade Austin Reeves to go get like I would ideally like to get an Io in the trade too and give up Austin Reeves and get Io, LaVine, Vu, and then now you clear off enough salary to piece the rest of the roster. So literally your five can be Io, LaVine, Vu, Anthony Davis, and LeBron James. And then you'd still have, whatever, Quincy, or you go with Alfred Payton, right? Because he looked really good for the Pelicans. So you go get him. You have Dalton Connect. You have Cam Reddish. You have Christian Wood. And then you keep Jackson Hayes or whatever you want. And then kind of you would trickle Anthony Davis and Vu, right? So no, AD comes out, Vu stays at the 5, then Vu goes to the bench, AD plays the 5, and you kind of just trickle them back and forth. So it's kind of how I would approach it, but appreciate you. Thank you so much. All right, let's see. Let's keep the party going. Find something me real quick. I'm with you. LaVine, Day'Ron, Dorian Finney-Smith would be chef kiss. I don't want Ingram over LaVine either. I would prefer LaVine. If I'm being honest, I actually think it's more likely Ingram goes to Lakers than LaVine. But I would prefer Zach LaVine. Like, I wouldn't be shocked at all if Ingram ends up being a Laker. Need to get Io and LaVine. Io is a legit two-way player. I agree. In a perfect world, you get Io, LaVine, Dorian Finney-Smith, and Day'Ron Sharpe. If you can do that, I think you're one of the best teams in the league, right? Because literally you could start Io, LaVine, Dorian Finney-Smith alongside LeBron James and Anthony Davis. And then you have Day'Ron Sharpe off the bench as your backup center with Christian Wood, Dalton Connect, right? So you're at least 8 deep, right? You still keep Austin Reeves. You're probably 9 deep. Like, literally your bench 5 could be like Austin Reeves, Dalton Connect, Cam Reddish, Christian Wood, and Day'Ron Sharpe. Let's go win a championship. Let's see. Io LaVine backcourt would be beautiful. Let's see. Sorry, trying to find something to me. Jason Tim finally admits his sins. What did he admit? What were the sins? That Gabe Vincent is a sinful player. I'll have to check it out. Let's see. Sorry, trying to find something. Lakers are cooked 3 seasons in a row, so they've looked that way for sure. I mean, they made it to the conference finals 2 seasons ago, right? Like, obviously it's not a championship, but it's still a feat. It's just we got smacked. Let's see. Just got another super chat. Andrew, come out, $2 super chat. Go into more detail why you prefer Zach over Brandon Ingram. Okay. First off, appreciate you for super chat. Secondly, so again, Zach or let me get that stretch. Oh, that felt good. Brandon Ingram obviously has more length, 7'3" wingspan, 6'9" in height or whatever. So you can slot Ingram in more spots, right? Because you can essentially slot him 2 through 3. But he's not the 3-point shooter that LaVine is. He doesn't have the explosiveness that LaVine is. Like, Zach LaVine is the better natural scorer, gives you more athleticism, so you can put him in more various actions, right? Like, Brandon Ingram is obviously athletic. He can do some stuff. He's nice. He can get to his spots, elevate. But you know what Brandon Ingram wants to do on the basketball court. He usually wants to get to like that, 15 range, elevate, turn around, shoot over the top, right, over either shoulder, or he wants to try to kind of beat you off the dribble, kind of get to that elbow, elevate, right? If you give him the space, he can rise up, knock down the 3-point shot, right? He can make plays, he can rebound. Well, Zach LaVine can do all those things, right? He'll get you 5 rebounds a game. He'll get you the 5 assists a game. I mean, Zach LaVine just had an 11, 9, and 9 game. People might be like, Zach LaVine only had 11 points, though. Yeah, he didn't need to score more, right? Like, everyone else was cooking. I think that was the game that Io had like 27. And he was like, okay, here you go. And just wheel and deal, right? Like, Zach LaVine understands and he can fit different roles, right? Brandon Ingram is kind of like, he needs to play a specific role. He needs to play on ball as the primary scorer, right? I think it was you that said earlier, he's like a glorified DeMar DeRozan. Kind of, in a way, right? Like, DeMar is best. You put the ball in his hands and you just let him go to work. Zach LaVine is better off ball. You can put him in more actions because of his athleticism, his ability to apply pressure to the rim, apply pressure to defenses, also his ability to shoot over the top, just like Brandon Ingram. He can do the same. But Zach LaVine is a better off-ball player. He's one of the better catch-and-shoot players in the league. He gives you same level of defense, if not better. But also, we have a very specific need and role on this team. When Anthony Davis has the ball, right, on the block, right, and he's doing his thing, or LeBron, whoever, Zach is more of a threat because of his slashing, his athleticism, as well as his off-ball shooting than Brandon Ingram is. You even see it on the Pelicans at times. Zion will get the ball, or even when Vu was on the team, or not Vu, Valanciunas, right? Even when Valanciunas was on the team, right? They dumped the ball to him on the post, and it would essentially, Ingram was essentially out of the play, right? Because he's not really that threat, right? Yeah, he can still knock down, you pass him the ball, he can knock down the open three. He's an NBA player, but he's essentially out of the play. Where LaVine can still impact the game, right? Like, I know you're not like super huge on Dalton Connect, but it's one of the things that Dalton Connect does, right? Dalton Connect takes a player completely out of the play. How do you feel about Dalton Connect? Teams cannot sag off of him. Teams will not double team and collapse to stay on him, right? Teams will do that on Brandon Ingram. They won't do that on Zach LaVine, right? Or at least not as frequently, because Zach LaVine is just the better 3-point shooter, and he's a guy that if you do help, right, and then you try to get back out to, Zach's just gonna blow right by you. I mean, he's one of the fast guys in the league. He's just gonna beat you every time to the basket. Now you put pressure on your defense, right? So it's just, again, he's just a better natural overall fit to this team. Andrew coming out with another $2 super chat. Jason Tim finally gave up on the Lakers today. Oh, he did? I'm going to have to definitely check that out. That's surprising. I know he's like a big Laker guy. Curious what he had to say, because he's usually pretty good at breaking down the analytics and stuff like that. Yeah, I'll have to check it out. I don't want to comment or say anything on it because I don't know what exactly he said. But thank you for letting me know. Like I said, I'll try to go check that out when I get a chance. Try to see if what he said exactly. But I appreciate it. Thank you, Andrew. All right, let's do a few more. Starting with Dalton, I agree. not having Vando, Schroeder, and Winion and TBJ hurts this team, in my opinion. I mean, it's just athletes that can defend and do multiple things on the basketball court. I said this earlier, right? Like, go down the list of players and ask if you took away their best attribute, what else could they do, right? Like, if you take away D'Lo's scoring, right, his shooting, what does he give you on the basketball court, right? Like Austin Reeves, if you take away the foul calls that he gets, right, because he's good at drawing contact, it's kind of a big part of his game. If you take that away, what does he give you, right? If he's not giving you anything offensively, can he impact the game in other ways, right? Like, you look at a guy like Jared Vanderbilt, right? If he's not giving you elite level defense, what else does he do? Well, he still helps you rebound, still helps you as an off ball slasher, still gives you athleticism out on the perimeter, right? Like, you go down the list and kind of do that, and then you'd be surprised. See, hate to be negative, but bad games like versus Miami seems like a protest against the front office who haven't made moves to improve, especially when Braun's chucking 30-foot threes at the end of overtime instead of going to tie it. I think he just wanted to get out of the game. But yeah, it is very frustrating. It could be. Maybe it is a signal, a shot to the front office. I don't know. I mean, Lakers tried to win this game, though, right? Like, this wasn't a game that they just were like, we just got blown out again. Let's see. When Zach, Braun, and AD are all hot, they are unbeatable. Yeah, I mean, if all three are cooking, you're good, right? Like, the good thing is that, like, LeBron, like with Zach LaVine, LeBron could play the way that he wants to play, which is essentially kind of going through the game in spurts rather than having to be explosive all game, right? Like, the way LeBron wants to play is essentially like, let AD and Reeves handle business, and I'm just going to chill. And then it's like, okay, all right, I'll go get 8 here. I'll get another 8 here. I'll get another 8 here. And then you look up and he's got, like, 24 or whatever, right? Like, that is what Zach LaVine would help LeBron. LeBron could play the role that he wants to play, which is kind of the Magic Johnson role, and not have to be so reliant on to score. Like, he's still going to get his 20, but he can do it when he wants to, not when he kind of needs to, if that makes sense, right? Like, he can now, how many times have we seen LeBron at halftime have like 7 points, and then you look up and he has 30, and you're like, dude, the guy scored 23 points in the second half, and it's just like, because he just go on these bursts, right? That's how he wants to play, right? Zach LaVine would allow him to do that. Zach LaVine would allow him to, because you can just give the ball to Zach LaVine and Anthony Davis and let them operate. Let them, let LaVine go get his 20, 80 can go get his, 30 or whatever, and then LeBron just comes in and trickles in. And he can go give you, his 23, whatever however many he wants to give you. So I'm with you. Let's see what else. For the sake of my hair color, I think I'm gonna take a break from the Lakers team. I feel it, Mission. It is incredibly frustrating, buddy. I get it. It is infuriating. Let's see. Also, Nuggets downgraded this year with the Westbrook game. I mean, a lot of teams aren't as good as they expected to be. Connect actually should come off the bench. I don't mind Connect in the starting unit because we don't really have very many options outside of that, and his floor spacing is very needed, right? Like, I'm fine with him. Look, I said early on that I thought he should come off the bench. I do think he was playing so good for that stretch that you couldn't put him on the bench. You can put, like, I don't mind him coming out. I'm not saying he has to start, but I do like his floor spacing in the starting unit. I just think you need those defensive athletes, right? Like, if you had like Jared Vanderbilt, I think things would look a lot better, right? Because he just covers so much ground, right? So, like, if you had, say, a Bruce Brown, right? If you had a Bruce Brown out there, and then Dalton Connect with, a Vando or something like that, you like Dalton Connect would make all the sense in the world on that basketball court, right? So because you'd have like that point of attack, you'd have that defensive guy, all of that, right? Lakers need everything. Missing a true point guard, wings, and a big. Yeah, I mean, 3 out of the 5 positions, right? Center, guard, and wing. It's not really surprising because that's why teams didn't want Cam and fell to the Lakers. Most players they signed are players other teams don't value. Yeah, I mean, he just Cam Reddish. He's a development guy. Problem is that like he hasn't grown, right? Like I like Cam Reddish. I think that there's still an opportunity for him to get better. I mean, he just turned what 25, but problem is like how long until it's like all right, like he just is who he is. Let's see. JJ looks burnt out already. I don't blame him as bad as this team has been playing. You know, he's probably furious because he's probably like, dude, I can't figure out how to fix this, right? Because it's not something he can fix. He doesn't have the personnel. That's a big problem. They just don't have the personnel. LaVine would annihilate Murray and Braun. I agree. Warrior fans really went from deepest team in the league to Curry needs more help. Yeah, it's amazing how quickly things change, right? When you start off strong, you start off good, and then all of a sudden. That's why I said, I mean, even when I think somebody asked me in one of these live streams, do I think the Warriors are a contender? And I said no. I said they're going to be a good regular season team. They'll probably make the playoffs, but they need another star. They're not winning anything without another star. Let's see. That was not Genie. That didn't want Caruso. That Pelinka, he thought THT would be better. That was his pick. I'll look up the articles. Genie, they got rid of Genie because of, or they got rid of not Genie. They got rid of Caruso because of the money. Right? You got to remember, Genie makes all the final decisions, and Genie's the one that writes the checks. Right? Rob Pelinka may have thought THT was going to be better, and most people thought THT was going to be better, but they could have had both. That's the problem. Genie didn't want to pay for both, right? That report was like on ESPN. That it came down to the money. They didn't want to pay him $10 million because they had THT. Do I think we could get Herb in an Ingram trade? No, they're not going to trade Herb Jones and or Troy Murphy. As much as I would love it, they're not going to do it. Like those are like their wings of the future. Didn't they both just get new extensions? And I think after the like trade thing, so I don't even think we could trade for them even if we wanted to. They thought they were. Bad teams always figure out ways to lose. I'll tell you that. Lakers aren't good enough. They aren't good. Period. Yes. Bad teams love to find ways to lose. Yeah, I mean, Magic wasn't great as a GM either. He just got rid of Zoo, chose Lonzo because he bought into the hype. When you could have Tatum or Fox or several other guys, right? Not broke, don't fix. Don't wait until December 15th. Go get Zach and Bull Centers are and Bull Center. Come on, Rob and Genie, you are taking advantage with AD and LeBron's career. I mean, I'd prefer a trade sooner rather than later, but you also got to keep in mind it takes 2 ways, right? Like, if you're the Bulls, you have no urgency, right? Like, if you're Chicago, like, yeah, like you want to get off of LaVine as soon as possible, but like, what if a team ends up losing a key player or something? And they're like, do we just go trade for Zach LaVine and figure it out later? Right? You never know what teams are thinking. I would love for the Lakers to go get Zach LaVine immediately. But you don't know. Like maybe Chicago is playing hardball, right? Maybe Chicago is being patient, right? I don't know. It's the problem. We're not on the other end of the phone calls. Like we don't know what conversations have been had, what hasn't been had. I'd rather watch 24-hour Lifetime marathon than Lakers right now. Both had basically had 40-point triple doubles in the last CFA, which is wild. Let's see, searching offensive with me. If they don't plan on making moves to improve the roster, then they just might as well sellers rebuild maybe. I think that Rob's trying to make like again, we don't know what's going on behind the scenes, but all of the reports, like all of the consistency we've gotten is that Rob has been very active on the trade market and they're looking for X, Y, and Z needs, right? Like so at least he's making an effort. But like I said, it takes two to tango, right? Like it takes two, both sides have to be willing to agree. Best thing to do is December 15th, make a 3-team deal and overpay for LaVine and Dorian Finney-Smith, hopefully. Do what you got to do. Let's see. What's up with all these bad MLE signings? It's frustrating. You know what's crazy is that this is Indiana's fault because Bruce Brown was supposed to take the full mid-level exception instead of Gabe Vincent. But then Indiana said, we'll double it. And because they doubled it, he ended up going and getting his bag with Indiana. Otherwise, he would have signed with the Lakers and we never would have gotten Gabe Vincent. We never would have had Gabe Vincent. We would have had Bruce Brown. Please do a trade on the 15th. I would love a trade on the 15th, but you got to keep in mind it probably won't happen on the 15th. Hopefully it happens close to the 15th or around the 15th, but point is don't wake up on the 15th and get your hopes up. Dorian Finney-Smith, then LaVine, Io, and Vooch. I don't know if you can do that. Because that's what it's 50 million just between LaVine and Io. So another 20 for Vooch, 70 million, talking 80, almost 85 million. Like, even if you the problem is the Lakers aren't going to trade Reeves. If the Lakers were going to trade Reeves, you could do that, which I wouldn't be against at all. Go Io, LaVine, Dorian Finney-Smith, LeBron James, Anthony Davis, or Vu. You probably have to go with Vu. So Dorian Finney-Smith probably have to come off the bench. Probably go Io, LaVine, LeBron, Vu, and AD. So yeah. Let's see. Missed the 2000 Lakers, right? We all do. LaVine, Io, Craig, Fariz, Rui, Vando, Gabe, Jalen Hood-Schifino, a first in 3 seconds. Yeah, the problem is, like I said, they're not going to trade Reeves. Like, I'm not against trading Reeves at all. I'd be all for it, but Lakers essentially have him untouchable. When is Pelinka going to address the media? Probably after the trade deadline. It's usually how it goes. Andrew coming out, $2 to check. I think Lakers might trade Reeves if they go Zach. If you trade for Zach LaVine, then you have to, in my opinion, you have to trade Reeves. Because Reeves makes no sense alongside LaVine. You don't need Reeves anymore if you get LaVine. Right? So even there's an argument to be made that Connect makes more sense alongside Zach than Reeves because Connect can shoot, right? So he can be that off-ball threat. If you get Zach LaVine, Austin Reeves becomes redundant. You don't need him. Like, I'd rather turn him into a Dennis Schroeder or a Bruce Brown or, an Io or whatever, right? I would rather do that. But I don't know if the Lakers will do that. I'm all for it if they will. I hope that they will. But I don't know if they would. I don't think that they would do it. But I don't know. Well, fingers crossed. Time will tell. All right. I'm going to go 5 more minutes and I'm going to skate on out of here because that'll be an hour and a half. So, all right. I'm going to power through as many questions as I can and then skate on out of here. Let's see. If I was LeBron James, I'd demand a trade. He's days away from 40 years old, and he's played the hardest on the team. It's unbelievable. Problem is, LeBron's not here just for basketball reasons. Look, I've said it before. If LeBron just solely wanted to win, there's 10 other teams he could have went to and probably won 3 or 4 championships by now. LeBron himself even said that his family wanted to come. He came here for his family. His kids wanted to go to school here. His wife wanted to live out here. He's here because of his family, right? If his family didn't care, his family was like, we'll go wherever you go, he probably would have went to any other team. There's literally like 5 other teams he could have went to if he wanted to just win championships. Let's see. It's almost December 15th, and Lakers looking like the Titanic, and the lifeboats are out waiting for us to give $5 for a lift DFA. It's frustrating, infuriating. Trae Young would be nice in purple and gold. I would love to see Trae Young in the purple and gold. Let's see. Oh, that's to Mike. It's not to me. Can't we trade for Trae, man? It would be nice. I think getting rid of Dinwiddie and Prince wasn't a good idea, man. Just saying, but Prince was too interested in following his baby daddy, Darvin. Yeah. I would have liked to keep Prince because of how good Connect's been. I don't think losing Prince is fine. Spencer Dinwiddie's the one that I really, because people were sick of Spencer Dinwiddie last year, but it wasn't Dinwiddie's fault. It was Ham's fault. Dude, Spencer Dinwiddie has been great for Dallas this season. Why? Because Dallas is letting him play as the point guard. Dallas is letting him play his position. Darvin Ham utilized him as a 3-and-D wing. He never played his whole career. Even in an interview was like, this is an entirely new role for me, and I'm trying to figure it out. Right? Because why? Because that's not his role. The one time he actually dominated a game for us and we won, and it was the only game that we won last year without D'Angelo Russell, was when Spencer Dinwiddie got to play the D'Angelo Russell role. And you know what Darvin Ham did? Hey, back to the corner shooting threes. You literally just saw this man give you, 26 and 9 or something like that, and win the only game we had without D'Angelo Russell, and you decided, we shouldn't have him as our backup guard when we didn't have a backup guard. We were running Austin Reeves as our backup guard. Spencer Dinwiddie was the guy that we should not have gotten rid of. Spencer Dinwiddie's a guy that he would be perfect on this team because J.J. Redick would have utilized him the proper way. But unfortunately, let's see. So I'm trying to find something to me. Max Christie was hindered by Darvin Ham. Exactly. 100%. He never got the figure it out season. Most young guys usually get the figure it out season. He's getting the figure it out season now. Right? That's the problem. Let's see. It was nice to see Gabe looking confident when and then he leaves Trae open at the end. Very upsetting. You just felt his confidence pause. Yeah. And that I said this earlier, when I first started the stream, he finally had a good game and just botched the assignment, and it was infuriating. It's man, if he had this kind of game every night, we'd be great, right? Because he was good defensively, he was doing the dirty work, he's hitting shots, he was doing a little bit of everything out there, making plays. You saw him play the role that we needed him to play. And then lo and behold, it's just so frustrating. Charlotte wants Lonzo. Miami wants Gabe back. Seems like a great opportunity for a 4-team trade. Io, LaVine, Craig, Nick Richards, Alec Burke to LA. I would love that. If we could pull something like that off, that'd be amazing. Because you get point guard to get that. Yeah, I would. And Alec Burke would be great too. Yeah, I'm right there with it. If they could pull that off, let's do it. All right, let's do a couple more, and I'm going to get out of here. Let's see. Firstly, I'm not trading Max. His two-way play needs to stay if possible. I agree. I don't think he's untradeable, but if you could keep him, I think he's a guy you keep. Like, I would rather keep Max over Austin Reeves. One, he's like 4 years younger, and two, he's a far better defender, right? And we need that. We need the better two-way, and he does the dirty work. That's where the key is. It's not Robert's genie doesn't know what she wants. They could have had Jonas without giving up picks yet, but they were too distracted going and getting the names. Shout out to my other team, the Hawks, for beating the Lakers. It's no one's fault but D'Lo, AD. Stupid turnovers in OT, and Bron, poor shot selection when he had 2 to 4 more seconds to take the rim. Yeah, they could have went and got into the foul line. Playing D'Lo and AD for the stupid turnovers. Dyson Daniels didn't play like this last season. Let Max make mistakes. I'm not saying they will turn into him. I'm just saying let him develop. Exactly. Right? Because, again, got to figure it out here. Right? Like, that's the thing. You need to let these guys figure it out. Right? You can have guys play in the G League and, get spot minutes. Like, you're never going to – like, how do you know what a guy is capable of doing until they actually get the opportunity? It's crazy. But, all right, I got super chat from Andrew. All right, I'm going to answer this last super chat, and then I'm going to skate on out of here because it's been an hour and a half. Obviously, if another super chat comes in, I'll answer that. But outside of the super chats, I'm going to skate on out of here. I don't see enough LaVine support. It's absurd at this point. Hey, I get a lot more comments than I've ever get. When I first started talking about Zach LaVine, I was getting like 1 out of every 20 comments were like, I agree. Now it's like more comments than not are like, all right, I've came like I get comments like daily from people that were like, all right, I thought you were acting foolish, but you're right. Go get Zach LaVine. More and more people are coming around. More and more people are coming around to the idea of Zach LaVine, which is great to see because we need it. But yeah, it was you gotta. People should be – I don't know how you're watching these games and going, Zach LaVine doesn't help, right? And all the excuses that people have against Zach LaVine are all – none of them make sense, right? It's like, oh, our depth. What depth? We're the worst bench in the league. We have the worst depth in the league. What depth is nice when you have it, right? People are like, oh, his injury history. A simple Google search will see you're wrong, right? Oh, his defense. Again, simple Google search will see you're wrong. Right, his salary. His salary is not an issue. No one's worried about his salary. Right, salary cap goes up next season, and LeBron James could take a vet minimum if he wants. He's not going to go that low, but he was willing to take $20 million less for Jonas, Klay Thompson, or DeMar DeRozan. Zach LaVine's better than all of them. Right, so I get it. But anyway, I'm gonna get on out of here. I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. Seriously, everyone that's here, I really do appreciate it. Real quick, hit that like button on the way out. Hit that subscribe button. Oh, and I just got another super chat. Hang on. Pause that outro. Peyton Pritchard is better than AR. We need Zach. Better shooter for sure. I think AR is better than Peyton Pritchard. Peyton Pritchard's kind of just developed that half court shot, so he gets on the ESPN highlights every night. Austin Reeves is better than Pritchard, right? Look, I'm very critical of Austin Reeves, and I've been, people are not very thrilled about the way that I talk about Austin Reeves, but he's better than Peyton Pritchard. But yes, we do need Zach LaVine. I am 100% with you, Andrew. Zach LaVine is very, very important. Again, I don't know how you watch these games and go, nah, we don't need Zach LaVine. Again, LeBron James and Anthony Davis combined for almost 80 points. They combined, hang on, let's do this real quick, and then I'll just get out of here. Right? LeBron James and Anthony Davis combined for 77 points out of how many points did they score total? 132. So literally, 55 points. So they literally scored more points than the rest of the roster combined. They accounted for 19 assists. The team as a whole had 33 assists, so almost double what the rest of the roster combined. They accounted for 20 rebounds, right? And we had total rebounds, we had 48. So almost half of the rebound total, right? Like, you're not winning very many games that way. You're not winning very many games when two guys are accounting for like 80% of your total production. It's just not happening. But appreciate you, Andrew. But anyway, now I'm going to skate on out of here. Appreciate you guys. Hit that like button on the way out. Hit that subscribe button on the way out. Everyone that gave me super chat, seriously, thank you so much. You have no idea. It helps me out a ton. I greatly appreciate it. And hopefully we win on the 8th. Fingers crossed, right? We got Portland. Please don't lose to Portland, right? But I appreciate you guys. And I will see you on, what is it, Friday? Saturday? Sorry, Sunday? What's today? Friday, so Saturday. Or Sunday. There we go. See you guys on Sunday.